Imagine a film that unfolds almost entirely in a single, cavernous location after midnight. Not a prison, not a spaceship, but a temple of American consumerism. A Target store, emptied of shoppers, transformed into a silent stage. Career Opportunities is that rare artifact, a John Hughes production that feels less like his trademark ensemble comedies and more like a whispered, atmospheric Nocturne. Released in 1991 and directed by Brian Gordon from a Hughes script, the film arrived at the tail end of Hughes's dominant 80s run. It starred Frank Whaley as Jim Dodge, a chronic fantasist and underachiever, and Jennifer Connelly as Josie McClellan, the wealthy, disillusioned daughter of the store's owner. On paper, it's a simple premise. A night watchman and a stranded heiress spend one long night locked inside the store, but the execution reveals something far more contemplative. The production itself was emblematic of a shift. Hughes, having cemented his legacy with films like The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, was moving into a more prolific producer role. Career Opportunities was one of several scripts he wrote rapidly during this period. Interestingly, the film was shot almost entirely on a soundstage. The vast fluorescent-lit interior of the Target was a meticulously constructed set. This artificiality becomes thematically central. It's not a real store, but the platonic ideal of one, a sterile American dreamscape. This setting is the film's true co-star. The empty mall, with its endless aisles, mannequins, and echoing silence, creates a profound liminal space. It's a world between closing and opening, between adolescence and adulthood, between fantasy and reality. The fluorescent lights hum with a persistent, existential buzz, casting everything in a flat, honest light devoid of the daytime's commercial glamour. Jim Dodge exists in this limbo. He's not a rebel without a cause, but a dreamer without an outlet. His career opportunities are a series of failures because he lives inside his own head, narrating grandiose adventures where he is the hero. The store, initially a prison, representing his latest dead-end job, gradually becomes the blank canvas for his imagination. He doesn't want to buy the American dream on display. He wants to appropriate its iconography for his own internal mythos. Josie, played with a grounded melancholy by Connelly, represents the other side of the coin. She has the material trappings of the dream, but finds them hollow. To her, the mall is not a place of possibility, but a gilded cage built by her father's success. Her presence there after hours is an act of rebellion against the very consumer identity the store sells. She isn't looking for something to buy, she's looking for something to buy. She's looking for something real the store can't provide. Their dynamic is the engine of the film's quiet insight. This isn't a typical romantic comedy meet cute, it's a collision of two different kinds of loneliness. Jim's is born from external failure and internal richness. Josie's is born from external success and internal poverty. The store, neutral and empty, becomes a confessional. They are stripped of their daytime roles, the loser, the princess, and are forced to interact as raw, uncurated selves. The film's most poignant scenes are its quietest. A conversation in the camping section, surrounded by tents, meant for getaways they can't take. A moment sharing a meal from the frozen food aisle, a parody of domesticity. Jim showing Josie his world champion routine with a shopping cart is a vulnerable act. It's his art, performed for an audience of one in this cathedral of commerce. He's not selling her anything, he's sharing the only authentic thing he has. Hughes uses the store's departments as thematic waypoints. The toy section highlights arrested development. The home appliances underscore artificial notions of belonging. The clothing racks full of identical items speak to conformity. When a trio of incompetent burglars invades this space, they aren't menacing villains. They're another form of failure, trying to literally steal the dream Jim and Josie are grappling with intellectually. This leads to the film's core tension, the negotiation between fantasy and reality. Jim's elaborate lies are a defense mechanism, yet in the heightened reality of the empty store, some of those fantasies of being a protector, of connecting with someone, become actionable truths. The setting grants him a stage where his imagined self can briefly align with his actions. For Josie, the night is an escape from a scripted reality into something unplanned and genuine. The cinematography by Donald E. Thorin emphasizes this duality. Wide shots emphasize the crushing scale and loneliness of the mall. Close-ups on Whaley and Connolly, often lit by the cool glow of a TV display or a security monitor, feel intimate and stolen. The score by Thomas Newman is equally pivotal. It's whimsical, melancholic, and slightly off-kilter, mirroring Jim's inner life and the surreal quality of the night. Ultimately, Career Opportunities is a film about finding identity in the gaps of the system. The American promise is presented in every stocked shelf, but the film suggests that real self-discovery happens when the transaction ends, when the crowds leave, and you're left alone with the artifacts of desire. Jim and Josie don't find themselves by acquiring what the store sells. They find connection by ignoring its purpose and using its space for human interaction. The conclusion is satisfying not because of grand plot twists, but because of subtle internal shifts. Mourning doesn't bring a magical solution. Jim doesn't get a better job, Josie doesn't run away from her life. Instead, they leave the store carrying a quiet understanding. They've been seen. The fantasy and the reality have touched, if not fully merged. The career opportunity of the title is revealed to be a misdirection. The real opportunity was interpersonal, a chance to be authentic in a world of facades. In the end, the film lingers not as a comedy or a romance, but as a uniquely atmospheric character study. It captures a specific fleeting feeling, the profound strangeness and potential of being awake in a world built for sleep, of finding a fleeting human connection in a palace built for consumption. It's John Hughes' most subdued and spatially conscious work, a forgotten fluorescent lit ode to the dreams that happen in the aisles after the registers have closed. Thank you for watching until the end. We pour our passion into every single video essay, exploring the stories behind the movies we all love. If you stumbled upon this video by chance, there is a very high probability you might never see our channel again in your feed. So please take a moment to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and ring the bell. We are actively growing this community of cinema lovers, and your support is what helps us make our content better and more insightful every single day. Let's explore the magic of filmmaking together. See you in the next one.